this is a kind of a first introduction to the responsibilities of consultants. Okay? As I go along, interrupt anytime. So if there is anything wrong or any question, interrupt. This is not just a one-way speech. Ask questions, I'll respond. If you're not really sure about the details of the points I'm making, let me elaborate. So please interrupt me and ask questions.
Are we supposed to be like we are the customers, or like hearing you? And
Right
we're
now you're
asking you
taking
questions?
class.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and if I'm
Yeah.
hearing it
Yeah.
for the first
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
and if
yeah.
I have questions,
so
okay.
please, if there's anything that's not clear, and anything you think which should be better put in different ways, please interrupt me. Okay? At first, what we are doing as a consultant is basically we are trying to raise the ratio of repeated customers by building personal relations. Okay? Very simple. Raising the ratio of repeated customers by building personal relations. What I'd like to point out is, here's no word, please note that there's no word like increase the sales. Right? So some people took it, oh, this is an indication that we don't have to perform. No. If you build personal relations, and then if you try to raise the repeated customer ratio, sales happen. Okay? What I found out, later on we'll elaborate a bit more, what I found out was people who create sales are actually good at building relations. Of course, it automatically raises the ratio of repeated customers. So also what we found out was the number of calls you make has a direct proportion to the number of sales that happens. So it's just a matter of effort. Okay? And then another thing I'd like to mention is, for some people, these responsibilities are not really there, inconsistent with their personalities sometimes. So if some people don't like this position, they should not spend or waste many people's time. Okay, but for some people, this thing really fits their personalities and really fulfilling. Okay, so and then later on I'll tell you there are certain things we should do to change the atmosphere, to reduce the tedium. But I think there's a certain fundamental problems for some people who find it really stressful to talk to other people. Then this is not the job for him. Okay. First, what you should understand is this. By now, I think you should also already understand that unless people becomes a repeated customer of our products, there are no ways for them, so far as these metabolism problems are concerned. So what you should know is that we are not really selling. For them, this is the only way. Let me tell you briefly why this is the only way. And then as you go along with our materials, you can elaborate why all these points lead to the conclusion that this is the only way. But here's what I'm saying. Diabetes, unless you do something, it progresses. And it goes to terrible and painful terminal conditions. So you have to do something. What do? Either taking pharmaceutical drugs and insulin injections, or they are trying to improve the conditions by changing lifestyles, like eating healthier, lifting, more exercise, right? Which are all good. But only 1% of people succeed in controlling or improving their diabetes by lifestyle changes, right? We are talking about superhumans. Those people who win gold medals in triathletes, those people. So it's not really practical to rely on lifestyle changes. Pharmaceutical drugs and injections, they have such a huge and formidable side effects. Also, those two means people rely on controlling this diabetes. Pharmaceutical drugs and injections are just for at least, at longest, just for 12 hours. It's a symptomatic situation. They just treat symptoms only for 12 hours at longest, right? So all these side effects, and then it's just a 12-hour thing. You cannot rely on them as a fundamental solutions, right? And there are also many dietary supplements. Some are good, but most dietary supplements don't know how they work. Most of them work because they are inducing indigestions. I will start again from the dietary supplement part. Most dietary supplements don't know why they have effects. Most of them don't have effects. Okay? So, and then the only mechanism we know that some dietary supplements work is they induce artificial indigestion. So if those dietary supplements are valuable, right, it's more effective to eat the chalk. You know the chalk? Mm-hmm. It works. It really reduces. Chalk. You write it on the board, right? Okay. It really reduces the blood glucose by inducing exactly the same indigestion. So if you look at what people do about their diabetes, this is the only way. Why? It has a long-term effects. It reduces the fundamental problems. It has no side effects. We know how it works. And then there are studies and then tests and then approvals by many governments and then the endorsement of many doctors. And then we have more than 100,000 previous users. And we know it's safe. So think about it. Other than this, I just don't know what people could do. So these points you should know first. In most cases, dietary supplements like our products, the life span of those products in the market is usually 6 months. They make a big life and then sell a lot and then they disappear. Ours already 10 years. So if you know this thing, you'd also agree that this is the only way, right? So, but what I'm saying is, you are not preaching this. Equip yourself with this knowledge, and then if somebody says, "Oh, I'm relying on pharmaceutical drugs and injections," yeah, that works for only 4 hours, and it's very good. Also, most of people can use insurance policies. It's free, right? Yeah. But ours, we are talking about different things, right? So you should understand our product has a certain very special value. And if you know that, when you talk to other people, no matter what they say, you can just add a couple of points from which you can win those customers. Okay? Now, when you call, okay, when you make a call, most of them are friendly. There are some very nasty people, very few. Most of them are friendly. Also, if you approach, do you have any questions or concerns? And we are trying to progress with our product. How are you doing? Usually people are friendly. It's just a matter of getting hold of them. And then if they say, no, right now is a bad time, you can just call sometime else. Because they already spent quite a bit of money. They are actually very, not only open, they welcome the communications from this company. So what I think we have not been doing is I think were a bit off the time at which we should call, meaning that when we should have called. For example, people received it, and then it's about time they start to use, and then after a week, is that the time we should call, or after a month? I think that's a matter of further research. So we should later we should have some talk about when is the right time to call. Okay. Again, we don't have to be confrontational. Okay? If they have a strong opinion, good. And then we don't have to be really confrontational under any circumstances. Why? Because our things can be a good supplement to whatever they do. So if somebody has a very strong opinion about what they do, what they take, this is a good supplement. So there cannot be any confrontations. Also, people say our things are really expensive, maybe, but compared with the medical costs and the human costs of the progress of this terrible disease, is it really expensive? I don't think so. Also, we give a nice financial assistance discount programs. So after this thing, this is not really expensive. What you should know is this. Remember this points like this. If you don't do anything, don't put anything, just empty capsules, put in the bottle, and then you just charge the bottle cost and the capsule cost, and then if they are sold on the supermarket and then drugstores or health food stores, because of the margin, the prices are already higher than most of the products you can see on the shelves of these stores. Mm-hmm. Conclusion: they didn't put anything. Even if they put flowers, it should be more expensive than this. So, we are not really comparing anything comparable here. They just put empty capsules. They just put nothing. For example, not anymore, but we had the collection of most of the diabetes products, and then we opened and analyzed it. The problem is not whether it's good or bad. Problem is they didn't put anything there. You should know this. So what they should do is that if people say, at the store I can find $5 the product, okay, you just go there, buy one, and open it and see what's inside. If you just put the capsules and the label and then ship it to them, and then it's almost already $5. How can it be? Right? Another thing I really want to mention is people are really frustrated. Doctors do not consult or do not give counseling. A person comes and then you check the blood sugar. If it's high, write this prescription and that's it. So people really feel abandoned, and then most of them are misinformed, on one point or another. So if we are equipped with knowledges, and then if we have discussions, there are always a couple of points we can be very helpful to these people. So they really appreciate it. Also, they're feeling that they have somebody to talk to. They're having some personal relationship with the company from the product of which they already spent quite a bit of money. They really appreciate. So we are not really making a cold call. We are already, basically we can say we are preaching to the choir here. So it's just a matter of how much time you spend, how many calls you are placing here. Okay. Now, other things. Actually, this is not just for our product. All negotiation, all marketing, the success is not talking, but listening. Okay? And then the best is by throwing cautious questions. If the clients put the words in their mouth, that's the best. So if they say, I'm doing exercise and it's fine. Oh, are you successful? Not really. What else do you do? Do you remember the first few points I shared with you that lead to the conclusion that ours is the only thing? Mm-hmm. If you have the list of the question, and if you throw it at the right moment, you can make people lead themselves into the conclusion themselves, and they put it orally on their mouths by themselves. That's it. And other than that, what I really want you to avoid is make the other side feel that you have a checklist. Even though you don't see them, they say, okay, can I ask a question first? Blah 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 blah. Second, blah 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 blah. Third, blah blah blah. I'm pissed. Yeah, it's like a dance. Okay, what's the situation? They tell, and then you want to cover later on, but don't go through the checklist. The first and primary feeling patients have when they see the doctor is that when doctors have a checklist, they usually lose confidence. When doctor says, tell me what you feel, or tell me what problem is, then they just say something, and then you may feel that, this is a waste of time. Yes, but not very much. Also, another thing I really want to mention, you really don't have to cover all the points. Okay? You really don't have to cover all the points. Couple of points. And then if that bangs on, that's it. Right? So don't make the other side feel that you have the checklist. Okay? And then we have that wrong ways of using Eleotin. And then in the natural cures, there are 7 ways to select right dietary supplements. If you know those contents of two materials, basically you cover most of the thing. Also, once you spend time upstairs and over here, what these ladies talk, basically, there are certain things, certain minor things, but main pillars you already have. Okay, so the amount of knowledge required for a successful consultant is not much. More important is how to build a